This is the Thrive Podcast with Shiloh Missionary Baptist Church. And now, Pastor Fred Jeff Smith.
Hello. Welcome to the Thrive Podcast with the Shiloh Missionary Baptist Church. This is the 32nd edition of our Thrive Podcast. We started in January, and as this is being recorded, it is mid-September, and we're grateful for those of you who have been viewers and or listeners to the Thrive Podcast over this span of time, and I am honored today to have as my guest Mr. Johnny Jones, known by some of you, I hope, because I'm sure that you all listen to his music, as Johnny Hustle. How are you, Mr. Jones?
Doing fine, Pastor Smith. How you doing today?
Grateful to have you here with us today.
Yes, sir.
Tell me about the music part. I know other parts, and we'll talk about other parts. Tell me about the music part. Tell me about Johnny Hustle.
Johnny Hustle is my stage name. I've been doing music for about 20 years, since I was like a kid or whatever. But lately, with the help of different management teams that I've been behind, I get more push. And so it's picking up steam. So like being recognized and stuff in the stores and stuff is.
Well, that's great.
Yes, but it's funny.
It's a good funny.
It's a good funny. Yes, sir.
That's a good thing.
Yes, sir.
Of course, it also means that you got to be careful what you're saying and what you're doing.
Yes.
I saw him in the store and he did this and he did that.
Don't speak to people and.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So you're a rapper. Tell me about. I am not a rap fan, so you have to talk to me like I'm a 3-year-old.
Okay.
There are different genres of rap.
Yes, sir.
What would you call your genre of rap?
Mine is more fun and party.
Okay.
If you would split it up in 3, I would probably split it up in like strictly like hardcore street, rap.
Right.
Then right in the middle of that and like the R&B type, I say it's like more party. Upbeat, fun, motivational, I guess, that type of genre. That pretty much me. I have a lot of friends who do like the street side, and you'll never hear me on the song with them. Because it's just different content. I try to stick to my content.
Okay.
So it can be more genuine.
You consider your content to be upbeat and inspirational
yes, sir.
and aspirational?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's good.
Yes, sir.
That's good. And you say you've been doing this for about 20 years?
Yes.
So then there's no such thing as an overnight success?
Not at all.
Okay.
Not at all. And
it's a lot of hard work.
I don't believe it's an age limit on music either. A lot of people are like probably say you're too old to be rapping, or music is universal. And I can name 4 or 5 rappers off the top of my head who hit after 30, 34, 30, so
yes, sir.
It don't bother me to when people say that, so I just keep doing it. I'm gonna keep doing it.
You chose rap as your musical outlet. Why?
Because I can't sing.
Well, that's about as straightforward an answer as you can get. Because I was going to ask, what about rhythm and blues, or what about pop, or anything like that?
I do those. Like, I sit in the studio and I always like sit around family and sing the blues. But you probably never get to record it. And to elaborate on that question, the reason why I started like writing raps because I had a problem with spelling. And my brother, who was incarcerated, felt like that was his way of reaching out to me. He used to write me.
Okay.
And I would continue what he wrote.
Okay.
Like, he'll write a story, and I'll try to continue that story in a rhyme.
Okay.
And we did that back and forth for he did a 2.5-year stint at that time when I was between 10 and 12. And that's how I really, really started writing my own raps.
Okay. So you only record your own music, as opposed to somebody else writing something for you?
Nah, I wouldn't. Nah, that's not genuine to me.
Okay.
But like when you're an R&B artist, or
you sing other people's songs
and
stuff like that.
as a rapper, if somebody presented a song to you like, Pastor Smith, I got this idea,
right?
And then I might write some lyrics to it. But as far as you writing how I feel about, nah, it's not gonna happen.
So from your perspective, rap is more an individual style of expression.
I would want to consider it because it's not like your words are your emotions. When you're singing, your tone. I feel like your tone and your notes are more of your emotion or what you're trying to get across. But when you're actually stating words, I think that's more your emotion. Like that's more your feelings that you will. I wouldn't want to record a hit. I feel hard and bad if I recorded a hit somebody wrote for me. You know what I'm saying? Because every night I'm performing this song and these are not my feelings. I think performing is.
But doesn't it become your feelings? I mean, you're also an actor. And when you act, you're actually portraying somebody else's words on the screen or on the stage. You don't have a problem with that, do you? If you won a Tony Award for performing on a stage, you wouldn't consider that to be disingenuous, would you?
No, because I'm performing. I'm relaying. I'm the vessel.
Right. You're interpreting someone else's words. Could that not be the same? And I'm just asking because I don't know. So I'm asking the question.
I wouldn't. Maybe it's just a mindset that been etched in my mind, but I wouldn't want Pastor Smith to preach something I wrote.
And it's funny that you bring that up because that was the next thought that was going to come into my mind. I write my own sermons.
Okay.
And I say that to emphasize because you might think, well, everybody writes their own sermons. No, they don't.
See,
a lot of people preach other folks' sermons. And I was trained in a certain way that it was considered to be theft.
Exactly.
In school, they called it plagiarism.
Yeah.
My daddy called it theft.
Yeah.
You stealing if you take somebody else's sermon and preach it. And yet I know preachers, I know pastors, I know successful preachers and pastors who don't write their own sermons. So from that standpoint, the genuine aspect of it I get. But I know that you do stage work. I know that you've done film work.
Yes, sir.
And in those cases, you are interpreting somebody else's words. I'm just trying to understand what the difference is between those things and when you're on stage rapping.
I mean, I think like when you're acting, when you're acting, the way I may act that scene out is not the same way, say one of my friends, like I act with a guy named Alex Scott. Mm-hmm. He's not going to portray that. It's no matter what. If we doing two rappers, say the scene involves two rappers, Alex is not going to do it the way I do it. I don't think you can do that. I think like with rapping, you can rap a song and I can rap it exactly the way you rapped it, but make it sound way better. Mm-hmm. I think that's just disingenuous. Because that's, if I say, hey, woke up this morning, made me some grits and eggs, went back and laid back in the bed. That's not what you do every morning. So if you relay that to somebody, you know, the kids gonna be like, oh yeah, well, I eat grits and eggs because that's what Pastor Smith don't eat grits and eggs. So that's, you see what I'm saying? Yeah. So I don't think you can do that with rap lyrics. Now, why would you be able to do it with music, with like singing lyrics? I don't know.
I mean, because several artists have recorded the same songs over the span of years,
yes, sir,
and have recorded them successfully, have done stellar jobs with it. Natural Woman, Aretha Franklin, who recently passed.
Yes, sir.
It was a song written by Carole King, and she wrote it, she said, for Aretha. Aretha sang it, but Carole King sang it herself and won awards. And there have been several other people who have sung the same song. Now, the lyrics are the same, and musically, as it's written out, yes, I'm sure it's the same. But there are different musicians, and musicians add their own flavor to it. The vocalist adds their own flavor to it.
Yes, sir.
I'm just trying to figure out the difference, but we'll leave it. Now, let me ask you a different question, because this came to my mind as you were talking about acting versus rapping. What do you think has been the reason why so many successful rappers have been able to translate that talent into acting? We have several actors and actresses who started off in rap,
yes, sir,
and made the move to film, and some even to stage, and have done very well. What do you think accounts for that kind of transition?
For the same reason, like when you're writing, it's just when I'm writing certain songs, like you actually have to get into a character. You know what I'm saying? Like it's certain songs that I would not walk around, that I've recorded. I wouldn't walk around rapping all day because at that time, that's how I felt. I don't feel like that no more. So it's like a lot of songs I don't even like performing, but those are people, they like those songs. With acting, it's so much different because you can always be a character forever. For instance, like you was alluding to, like rappers who become actors. I think Tupac is a way better actor than he was a rapper. Okay. You know, like the way he wasn't Tupac on scene, that's what's crazy to me. Like he really look like he can act. I give you another person. I just saw Kendrick Lamar in Power. That was crazy. Dude really can act, but he's a rapper. And then when you listen, it made me go back and I never really listened to Kendrick Lamar's album. I've been listening to Kendrick Lamar for like 2 months now. Okay. Like because you see the energy and the other than what's on radio, his energy is way different. He has a positive energy. So it's like when I saw him acting, it's like, oh, like he's really deep. And I think I don't think all rappers can be actors. Just like
but you've got a number of them who have made the Ice-T, Ice Cube.
Exactly. So if you listen
Ludacris,
to
Common.
Oh yes.
Queen Latifah. They have all Will Smith. They all started
50 Cent.
50 Cent. They all started in rap, and they made the transition to acting.
Every person you just named, albums are hot because they deep. It's not. I mean, Lil Jon been in the movie, but you're not about to watch a movie starring Lil Jon because we know, just like in his rap, all Lil Jon make is party music. So you're probably only gonna see Lil Jon in party films. Will Smith. Like all all people in my I was about to try to name some Will Smith songs, but I don't think nobody in our generation gonna know.
This is a story all about how my life.
They don't even know that's a song. That's not an intro to us. That's not an intro to.
Yeah.
That is an actual song.
It is the only rap that I know, by the way. I have given you the extent of my rap repertoire.
Parents just don't understand.
Right.
That is a dope song. You know, it wasn't. It was a story. Like it's deep. So like DMX was a good actor to me, and still probably could be a good actor if he, get his life together.
Right.
Because he's a deep artist.
Right.
I don't think shallow artists can be great actors. These are great actors. Every rapper gonna be in a movie, but they're not deep enough to translate to me to the big scene like you're talking about, like the big actors. You know. Even to Tretch. I like Tretch as an actor. Never listened to his music until I realized he was an actor. I didn't even like Naughty by Nature until I like Tretch, cool. And when you listen to his music, like, oh, dude, deep. So.
Okay. You rap, you act. I met you through Terrence Turner, who is the producer of this podcast and serves as the minister to our audiovisual work here at Shiloh. Tell me how your spirituality plays a role in your rap performance.
Well, since like 2016, I actually been associated with Terrence and the audio and visual at Shiloh, and it's lately spiritually it's changed my music so much because I don't even record a lot of music no more, Pastor Smith, because it's like there's nothing that I would want my kids to actually pull up to anywhere to really listen to. So like I still release those feelings and energy on paper, but like lately it's a lot of songs that I haven't been releasing. So since you asked that question, I got a song out now that we cannot say the name over this podcast.
Okay.
But it's like heat. Like it's like people are demanding it, and it's like lately it's like, well, it's a couple of shows that I have to turn down because I don't really want to go to those places. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to, and spiritually it's affected a lot of songs that I've been writing, and it's really going to be displayed in my next project because like I feel myself changing. I feel myself going in a different direction musically and, you know, personally. So being around this environment, it's not just you. Just being around this Shiloh environment is affecting me for sure musically, not just personally and spiritually.
There are people who are making a living in what they call Christian rap.
Okay.
And some churches embrace it. I'm not all the way there yet. Not because I have a problem with rap, but, well, I'm just not all the way there yet.
Yes, sir.
Are you familiar with Christian rap?
Yes, sir.
And what's your feelings about that?
And I wasn't prepared for that question. It's a couple of guys that I ran into that are like nice Christian music, like rappers. None to come off the head right now, and that's crazy. But I'm not opposed to it. It's some of it that seems bland to me. It's like reaching, kinda. It's like, okay, is that just you just doing it just for Christians, or are you doing it? But it's just some of it's lacking emotion to me, honestly. It's like some of it is like reaching to some kind of crowd or some kind of, you know, come up.
Commercializing.
Yeah, commercializing.
Yeah.
But it's been a couple of songs where I don't think you can all the way just not give something back. Like if you've been on that side of the fence, like the non-Christian side of the fence, I think your music, even if you're doing a Christian song, it should kind of just, you know what I'm saying, draw into to us, like, or to people like that you're trying to. I feel like they should be more a vessel for people that they were most like at first. You know what I'm saying? It's been a couple of Christian songs I've been hearing. It's like nobody praises God that much, dog. Come on, bro. Like, you cannot tell me that's not. You reaching, bro. You reaching. I don't even think Chris is gonna believe you when they hear the song.
Yeah.
And,
that's funny, the way you said that.
But DMX is one of the people that you would be like, I can believe you don't pray every day. But I believe when you do pray, you probably cry. You probably feel remorse. You probably so you kind of tend to believe. You kind of tend to make DMX kind of becomes your media to. Maybe I need to change my life.
Yeah.
But it's kind of hard, and maybe I'm just speaking for me, but I've sat around a couple of guys that's, you know, on that fence at this point in time in life, in our 30s, mid-30s. They're like, dog, it might be a little bit more bigger than what we're doing tonight.
What's your feelings about what they call spoken word? Which I consider to be a form of poetry, which rap is a form of poetry,
Rhythm and poetry.
Just without the music.
Without the music.
So I'm just wondering, what are your thoughts about it?
I enjoy it. With everything, I think everything I see always have an extreme that I don't agree with.
Okay.
Of course, but I don't think they're technically. I think they get more hype because it's spoken word and it's not done over music. You know what I'm saying? It's like Common could be a spoken word, and I probably listen to Common more than more people because, you know, of course he was a rapper, but the spoken word thing is, I haven't heard too many people that's like different. Like every time somebody's speaking a spoken word, it's like either. And I'm just talking about people that I listen to.
Sure.
Or I heard like at different clubs around here. It's either black revolutionary type, or it's the we're in love type. It's like I never heard no like spoken word like life changing. And you know, and that's what I think I want to build steam behind a new genre for music. Like I want people to understand it's a music just for life changing. Like I want people to start making music to motivate people, and you know, because I'm a rapper, but I also have a 9 to 5. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to wake up and be listening to had to kill another person tonight. And
I don't want to hear that either.
You know what I'm saying? So
I don't want my children.
And I think we'll, as people that's, you know, transitioning in life, you know, that'll be a good thing for people to like come to music. Like you say, you're not a big rap fan, but if you knew, okay, well, Johnny dropped the album, and it was really about, okay, well, spoken word over music.
Yeah, I watched one of your videos, and I thought it was cool. The shirt being off, and of course you got the physique to cover the shirt being off. But there was an energy to it. My biggest problem with rap is that, and I don't know if it's just that I'm slow on the pickup, I can't always understand what's being said. And that's not just on you. That's almost anybody.
Yes, sir.
And perhaps I just can't hear it because they speak it so quickly and what have you, and I have to listen to it more than one time in order to get the whole thing. But I find the energy of rap music, and the energy, especially among young people, to be a very fascinating thing to watch. And as I say more and more as we do these podcasts, I started this podcast because I am a seeker. I'm trying to find different ways of communicating to people that would not typically walk into Shiloh Missionary Baptist Church for a worship experience or a Bible study.
Yes,
and so when I see the energy that rap music generates among young people, I'm looking at it from a clinical standpoint. I'm trying to figure out how can I generate that same kind of energy for spiritual things, for Christ. And that's not a put down to what you're doing.
Yes, sir.
It's just different, and I'm trying to see how I can grab that energy and make that energy something that's a part of what we do here.
And I think working with artists like myself that'll like speed up, or that will actually, I know it will assist what you're trying to pull out of us, you know. And speaking of Terrence do it to me all the time. Hey, Johnny, I got this idea. Da 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 da. 2 days later, man, that song nice. Or that song, and it's be strictly off something he told me. And like again, Terrence is like my, he's my like filter to transitioning from like being rough around the edges and you know, you might want to dress like this, you might want to come like this, you know, when somebody speak, you might want to do this, you know. And that's he anytime I come up to like a unfamiliar environment, that's what he does. And translate to music, he'll be like, man, that song tight, but you know, you can not curse here, you can do this, and it'll be a way better song. And then you go back and change it, and it's like, okay, that was dope. So you know, it's energy is my energy,
right?
But you know, I wouldn't. I think what you're saying is totally possible. You can pull that out of someone to assist in bringing, you know, the young people even closer. And I think that's one of my. I really think that's one of my callings. You know what I'm saying? To actually like to draw people. And you know, do it in different ways, and I really haven't started doing it in music. I really, you know, do it mostly like in my personal life, even with my job. Like I always inspire people, kids, like, man, just go get a trade.
Right.
Like, that's way better than sitting over here not doing nothing.
Yeah. So you made mention of the fact that while you perform, you do have a 9-to-5 job, and I happen to know that at least one of your jobs has to do with an air conditioning business, and you do a wonderful job. You have saved us here at the church several times, and several thousands of dollars, and I'm grateful for that. You have a strong work ethic. Do you think that same work ethic exists pervasively among young people? And if not, why not?
For different motives, different reasons. I think I come from one of those last, I got to get out of this environment generations. You know, a lot of kids not growing up in an environment to where they want to get out of it now. A lot of people are embracing, let's stay on this level type, and not to shun or, you know, look down on anybody, but when I was coming up, as a group of kids, we used to be like, dog, we got to go cut some grass. We got to do something today. Like, my mom not going to give me another $1.
Yeah.
And Mr. Bobo just got some more Dixie cups out the freezer.
Yeah, I got you.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
I remember Dixie cups very well.
And so, like, even now with my kids don't. My son loves working. My oldest son loves working. My youngest son hates it. It's not what it's up to him. But that's that's how they grew up. So to answer your question, I think it's still alive. I just think it's not tapped into. I think everything is given so much to kids and everything. And I was one of those spoiled kids until my daddy was like, okay, well, I think the fun's running out, son. You need to. And it took me a while. I'm 35.
Yes, sir.
So it took me a while. It wasn't no overnight. Nothing has been over. None of the transition from being a crybaby, spoiled baby, as my brothers and sisters will tell you, to being a different person. And it's embraced. And like I say, being around Shiloh is also. So you got the chemistry around here. Is just, I know you're seeking.
I am seeking.
You're seeking.
Yes, I am. Have we? Because I'm 20 years ahead of you. You say you're 35. I'm about to turn 57. Has my generation pushed too hard on your generation about education, about college and postgraduate, as opposed to what you said a few minutes ago, telling younger people, go get a trade. It's better than just sitting around here doing nothing. Have we made too much of the college thing, in your opinion?
I think college spoiled everybody because that's the only thing you're thinking about after 12th grade. All you're thinking about is passing a test to get into school that you know nothing about, so many people failed at college that I thought I was being right by not just going, not knowing it's a whole nother avenue. And not just trade schools, apprenticeship, period. Like, it's guys that's in high school. It's a guy that I knew in high school, he can draw well, so I hooked him up with a painter on the weekends. Now he's a painter. He's like 22 or 23 now. Man, he paint. Now he's going back to trade school for different things. I just think, not just the generation, I think it was the school system also. It's not enough home ec. It's not enough shop.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting that you say that, and I find that a very fresh perspective.
Yeah.
Because there was home ec when I was in school. There was shop. They called it industrial arts.
Okay.
When I was in school. At Southern Lab,
yes,
where I found out that you went to school also.
2001.
Well, way later than me. But somewhere along the way, those things were dropped. You don't have home economics in the typical high school anymore. You don't have shop, and what you have are VOTEC schools that are especially devoted to that.
Yes, sir.
But I understand that there's a move to develop a high school, if it has not already come online, that has a VOTEC curriculum,
yes, sir,
attached to what it is that they are doing. But for so long, the thrust was get a college degree.
Yeah.
High school's not enough. A high school diploma is not enough. You have to get a college degree. There was never a question in my mind that I was going to college. My parents made that abundantly clear. I was going to college. And not only was I going to college, my father told me which college I was going to. Well, what no choices out there. You're going here.
Yes,
and my sister was the same way. My brother had the same opportunity. My brother chose to, well, he rebelled, and he ended up going into the military. But those were the options, Clearly, high school was not enough. I still believe a high school diploma is not enough. But I don't know if I'm as firmly convinced that every kid has to go to college in order to be successful.
High school isn't enough, but once you started tapping into skills and manual labor, experience is different because I wouldn't know how to relate it to college. But if I come out of high school and I start some kind of robotic business and I actually have good sales over 2 or 3 years,
right?
And somebody graduates from such and such college and they've been there for 4 years, and
right.
we both apply for the same job.
Right.
How is they any more qualified because they have a piece of paper say, I went to a class for 3 years and they showed me
right.
how to do this, instead of this guy who like, I got my own,
right.
like, I actually sold these.
Right.
These are mine.
Part of the problem is the fear that our entrepreneurship will not be enough to allow us to succeed without the degree. See, the traditional plan of going to college, getting a degree, and getting a job meant that somebody else was paying you.
Yes, sir.
You got a job in somebody's firm, in somebody's corporation, and in somebody's plant, and you got to the place where you were earning a good middle income chunk of change.
Yes, sir.
And you had benefits, and you had insurance, and you had a retirement plan,
Job
all
security.
the other kinds of job security.
Yes, sir.
Family security.
Yes, sir.
You're able to make a loan so that you can buy a house, and also and the kid over here without the college degree had to depend upon his wits and his tenacity and his commitment to succeed. And in the business world, they call that entrepreneurship.
Yes, sir.
And not everybody had the same level of entrepreneurship or the drive
Yes, sir.
in order to do that.
Yes, sir.
And so what happens to that kid who does not have the degree and also does not have the drive? Then he's caught in this quandary.
Yes, sir.
And he becomes a person that somebody else has to take care of. He's the 40-year-old still living at home with his parents.
Yes, sir.
In the same room that he grew up in. And that's the picture that has been painted.
Okay.
But what I'm starting to see is that the pressure that we have put on people that you have to go to college and that you have to succeed is not always beneficial.
Correct.
It sometimes has proven to be harmful to people who really weren't cut out
To go to college. Yes, sir. I was one of those persons. Once I got there, I knew that's why this is why I didn't want to come here, because it was so self-driven, and I wasn't that person at the time. Mm-hmm. Like, you couldn't tell me, hey, you have to be to class for 7 o'clock. My mama dropped me off my whole high school career.
Yeah.
Like, if she wouldn't have dropped me off, I probably wouldn't have went then.
Yeah.
So, like, those persons, that's a kind of hard thing to like relate to them, or to. I don't think everybody built for it. I don't think everybody needs to go. It's certain people that don't. Like, you just need to go ahead and put them in the workforce, because that's what type of person or people they are. And even myself, I do AC work, certified technician. The business part is not my forte. I hate it. Don't like it. I love talking to customers, but as far as like doing the paperwork, keeping up with this and that, that's not my forte. Found somebody that me and him clicks.
So you networked.
Yeah.
And you found somebody who could complement your skill.
Exactly.
Your skill is in one area,
Yes,
or
sir.
a couple of areas, and his skill is,
Yes,
or
sir.
her skill is in a different area.
Exactly.
And you all married those skills together and formed your own company.
Yes, sir.
Well, that's entrepreneurship, and that's something to be applauded. That's
Exactly.
something to congratulate you on doing. The problem is the kid who recognizes, I have this skill, but I don't have that, but I ain't doing nothing to find anybody to help me with that skill either, and I ain't going to school.
Well, he can sit on the sideline. I'm not sitting on the sideline. If that's just like a sports translation. If maybe you got a quarterback that can throw, it's a perfect LSU. If maybe you got a quarterback that throw and a quarterback can run. If it's 3rd and 1, you might want to put the quarterback that can run in, just so we can.
I got you.
Have that option. But
I got you. So how do we foster that kind of drive for the kid? Okay, you don't want to go to school. I understand that, and school is becoming so much more expensive, and parents are having a harder and harder time paying for their children to go to school. So I think more and more, if not for philosophical reasons, for pragmatic reasons, people are saying, okay, well, you don't have to go to school, but you can't sit on my couch and play Xbox all day.
Okay.
You got to do something else. How do we foster that kind of drive in young people?
I would look in your eye and tell you this. I think that has more to do with pride, because I think it's more prevalent in men. I don't think you'll have a problem with so much more with females. Where like, look, if I teach you this, if you learn this, you will get this. Mm-hmm. I done seen females go after what they want. It's not too many guys that are gonna be in my situation. Like when I was in AC school, I also worked for an AC company. So the money that I was making for the work that I was doing, a lot of people were like, bro, I wouldn't work there. I wouldn't work there. But I knew learning under these people, once I finished learning 10% of what these people know with my drive, is no mountain that we can't climb. Then I get to the paperwork part. Okay, now I got another. I'm gonna have to swallow my pride and say, okay, well, I'm gonna split this with you. Right. Or just like he had to swallow his pride and say, okay, well, I'm gonna work with you on this. I think if we get more of our young guys to realize that we can all help each other, I think pulling that energy out of those type of people won't be that hard. You know, because you have more examples, you have more motivational tools. Terrence is a motivation to me. He's my age. Also, Brother Fuller is a motivation to me because of how he carries himself as a man, how he does his family. But it takes pride to sit back and say, okay, well, I don't do this right. I need to tap into this. Those people that are still on that sideline, Pastor Smith, I think that's the biggest thing. I think they wasn't taught, look, as a man, you're going to have to swallow something. You're going to have to win something, you're going to have to lose something. But the ones you lose, you have to learn from. And that's why I think those kind of guys are still on the sideline. You got the people, like you say, that want to do the entrepreneurs that don't have the talent. You got people that got the willing to work that's not good entrepreneurs. Then you have those ones in the middle that's just not going to say, okay, who can I look to help? Or when somebody offer you help, am I going to accept it? Right. Right. You know, a Burger King job is not bad if you don't have a job. Yes. I don't care what nobody. I worked at Toys R Us overnight making $8 an hour. I was 26. Yes, sir. I was in school because I knew it was more. You're gonna have to swallow it, and I honestly think I don't think nobody's incapable or whatever. Incapable. What's the word? Incapable. I don't think anyone is incapable. I think they're not tapping, and sometimes you do need somebody to pull it out of you. But as black men, I think every black man on earth, every man on earth, has the ability to sit back and say, I need help. Where can I get it from? I don't think you should put the responsibility on making all of us great men on yourself.
Well, I just think that sometimes we get locked into a certain model, and we think that model is the only one that generates success. Okay. And I'm learning that there's more than one path to success. And because someone chooses a different path does not mean that they don't want to be successful. Yes, sir. By the same token, there are others who are simply pretending, and they really have no drive at all. And they think that if they just follow a certain formula, that following the formula is going to give them the success that they want. Yes, sir. And then they're frustrated because, okay, I followed the formula. I went to school. I did this. I did that. I did everything y'all told me to do, and I'm still struggling. Well, you're struggling because you don't have the individual drive that you are describing. Yes, nobody's going to give you anything in this world.
They'll give you a diploma.
Yes. Yes. But as far as the success that you want to have, you're going to have to go out there and you're going to have to make your own way in order to do that. You went to Southern Lab. I went to Southern Lab too. Graduated from Baton Rouge, but I spent my first 9 years at Southern Lab. So you were a part of a school experience where you all were really small, small class sizes, small school altogether. I believe that they're not 1,000 students at Southern Lab between K through 12.
Probably not.
So did you see that as beneficial to you in that you could generate more attention from teachers, instructors, administration, things of that sort?
Totally. I think going to Southern Lab really magnified teenage lessons because, like, it was so small, but everybody was different. Everybody, like, I thought my niche at Southern Lab was the little hoodlum. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Because my mom and daddy ate tuna fish and poking beans to keep me in that school, but I think that was the best investment ever. And I think Southern Lab I think it was just so personal. You knew every teacher. My dad went to school with two of my teachers. I think the benefit was being the small was the benefit because it was so personal. And, other than that, the environment as far as being held accountable, because like if you fail the test,
everybody
knew it.
I understand.
So it was like, I think it helped you more. I think that's one of the biggest assets of my life, honestly. And I'm lost for words because I'm sitting there thinking, like, I think that's the best investment my dad ever made.
That's great.
Sending me to that school.
That's great.
Yes, sir.
And you have respect for the fact that they had to sacrifice in order to do that.
Yeah. I think I'll be way worse. I would have been way behind the 8-ball going to another school. Mm-hmm. And it's not nothing against the school, whatever school I would have went to. It just, I'd have been another pea in the pod. Yeah. But at Southern Lab, it was like, I had friends who were like, you know what I'm saying, you studying tonight? You doing this tonight? By Miss Harris knowing my daddy, it wasn't I wasn't gonna miss no no class, no test.
No cuts.
Why Johnny wasn't at school?
Yeah.
Or they standing in the back.
It's one of the things that you miss. When I was at Southern Lab, you had some teachers who actually went to church here. So they saw my mom and daddy every Sunday morning. So you wasn't gonna be doing no whole lot of stuff.
Yes, sir.
And so it was a family atmosphere that I think proved to be beneficial to so many people.
And I went through a lot of like things while I was at Southern Lab. I was coming from 7th grade to 8th grade. I was in a house fire, and I got burned and everything, and it was crazy how all my classmates reached out, no matter the age. Like, it had high school guys who reached out to me, you know, because we were so everybody was in the same building. So it was like, I didn't even know it was like John Simon, Arbor Jones. They were on the football team, so I'm like, Arbor Jones just called me. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, it was so personal. But yeah, they helped me through that situation a lot, and that was nice.
That's good.
But, you know, green and gold.
Hail to the old Southern kid, faithful, loyal, and bold. We will always pledge allegiance to the green and gold. See, I know all of that stuff.
Yeah, we only had to learn it for graduation.
You're making your way in Baton Rouge. Do you think that Baton Rouge is where you want to live the rest of your life?
No doubt.
You're still a young man.
No doubt.
Okay.
No doubt. I'm going.
Terrence, I finally got one who said yes, because I asked this question of most of my guests, and most of them say, no, I can't stay here.
And no disrespect to none of your guests, I hated that you would take the gift that this environment has to survive in this environment. Mm-hmm. People in this environment need to see that. And there's no way in the world, if I make it, that I would leave and do that from a distance. I'm not saying I'm gonna like die here, mm-hmm. like die in the streets or something like that, but not that. I'm saying, like, if and when I become that success story, mm-hmm. I'm gonna be in the community as much as a pastor. Is, you know, like that's what I'm shooting for. I don't want to be successful because I want this big dumb house and these cars. I want my kids to be like, okay, my dad has started something. We need to keep it going. And I want them to reach out to different kids and keep that going. Like,
legacy.
I see different. Yes, I see different pictures from old. I saw the old mall picture, like from an aerial view. It was way smaller, but it was so much more to me because at that time that was the biggest thing in the city. Everybody embraced it and they took care of it. Why don't we take, like, everybody see the mall closing, and be like, I'm not going to the mall, blah blah blah. Why don't you actually shop at?
Do you know how old I am? I'm old enough to remember when they built that mall. And now I'm watching it close. When I was a kid, there were two primary shopping centers. There was Delmont Village up on Plank Road, which was very different then than it is now. In fact, the only thing that's still left from the original Delmont Village is Piccadilly. Everything else has changed. And there was Bon Marché. And Bon Marché was not a mall. It was a shopping center. Okay. They converted it into a mall. And it became the place to shop until they built Cortana. And Cortana was built when I was 14 or 15 years old. Okay. So over the past 40 years, I have watched Cortana become the place in Baton Rouge, to becoming a place that's about to close up and shrivel up and die. Economics have changed greatly in this city, and a lot of it has to do with where certain people live. Yes, sir. You know, make no bones about it. As white people moved further south and further east towards Denham Springs and towards Gonzales, and moved north, Central and Zachary, Cortana got left behind. Yes, sir. And the people who came in behind did not have the same economic ability in order to maintain the strength of that shopping center, and so it's going away. I fear the same thing is going to happen to Mall of Louisiana.
Eventually.
Yeah.
Because it's doing the same thing. It's dying
and then it's not just that, but where the Mall of Louisiana is concerned, people's shopping habits have changed so much. Between Amazon and internet shopping, I don't go to the mall very often. In fact, I pride myself in the fact that I've gone 4 Christmases now without ever having set foot in the mall, and never having to miss anything because I haven't set foot in the mall. So those kinds of things have changed.
Yes, sir. I don't go to the mall. Yeah. Period. But it's still ways that you can still, you know, be of the, you know, this side or this community. And I think the more successful people we have in this generation that actually go back to doing it, I mean, it's different ways. Even if a couple of, you know, successful guys reach out, there's different ways to save them all, to make it something for us. Yeah. You know, because I mean, I understand it was open for this community. Yes. So I mean, it's certain things you got to take pride in to kind of want to shoot to keep. Yeah. You know, even the parks around here, like it's different ways, and if it just takes me, I'm gonna be one of the 5 starters.
the thing is, it takes money. Yeah. And in too many cases, people of color who have been financially successful have invested their dollars in places other than within their own communities. Now, you know, if you ain't got nothing to invest, then can't nobody expect anything from you. Exactly. But for those who have achieved a certain level of economic success, you would hope that some sense of pride and concern for your community would cause you to want to reinvest in your community. The other side of that is you can't tell me how to spend my money. Exactly. And you're right, I can't. But I can suggest that your community would benefit if you could find a way to invest some of your dollars back into that community.
A lot of people want to see the investment too. A lot of people don't believe, like, if I donate to this cause, if I donate to this fund, somebody might benefit from 5 years from now. You might not see, you might not even be alive for your investment. But it's the pride and, like you say, the responsibility and the concern in, okay, doing my part, no matter if it benefits me or not now. And that's, you know, that's the biggest thing, you know. And I feel like I'm an investment. Like, you know, like you say, like I was saying, my mom, my dad, you know, did what they had to do to keep me in a situation where they thought was going to benefit me. Right. So it'll be real lazy of me not to invest likewise, you know, in somebody else's life, and not just my kids, you know, not just my kids, but the community, period. Yeah. You know.
Your youngest child is Carter.
Yes, sir.
Fine young man. I love it every time you bring him around. As Carter grows up, what is it that you would like Carter to know about his father? How would you like Carter to perceive you?
Mistakes isn't the end of the process. Like, if you make a mistake in something, or if you come to a brick wall, it's something on the other side of that wall. So you can always bounce back from mistakes. I was always the person to make a mistake and cry or pout for 2 or 3 days. You know, I get back to it, but my recovery wasn't the best. And I don't want my sons especially to deal with that. And so now, even with Carter, it's like, you know, he's only one. You know, I tap him every now and then, but I let him touch fire. You know, I want him to start learning right now that, okay, that's hot, but you also use this to cook. Right, right. Like, everything is not bad, but, you know, you can't look at everything like it's sugar either. So I want him to know from my personal experiences that you're gonna make it if you stay in the race. If you're not in the race, you're never gonna win. Yeah. So just stay in the race. Don't ever take your name out the race. Don't ever not take advantage of any opportunity, no matter how small it seems. No matter if it's doing a podcast with Pastor Smith, or you doing a CBS World Nightly News interview with such and such.
With whoever's there.
Yeah, whoever's there at the time.
Yeah. So, well, I appreciate your taking the time to come and share with us today.
No problem.
It has been a wonderful conversation, and I look forward to continued relationship with you as we go down the road.
I appreciate everything you have.
Thank you for viewing. Thank you for listening. We'll be back next time.